Ouija, Origin of Evil is a prequel to the horrible horror movie Ouija, based on the board game of the same name.
What's this?
A Ouija board for work.
Spirit, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Who are you talking to?
What?
Unlike the first one, this movie was directed by Mike Flanagan. He's a great director who had previously done Oculus and the movie that's only on Netflix right now, Hush. This film was published by Blumhouse, and say what you will about them, they know how to learn from their mistakes. And they took everything to learn from the first film, which was horrible, and they made a really good film. When I first saw the trailers for this, I was completely against it. I thought that it was just going to be a horrible movie. I didn't even want to go to the theater to see it. But then, coming closer to the release, a different trailer released, and it actually looked pretty good. And the reviews came in, and the reviews were really good. Some of my reviewers I trust said it was a great movie. So I went out to see it, and they're right, it is a great horror film. Okay, right off the bat, if you haven't seen the first film, Ouija, then I think this movie is actually a better experience for you. Because having seen the first horrible film, I kind of know how this movie has to end. It has a little bit of the prequelitis, where if it's in the same world, the movie has to have a sort of ending, to set up the climax of the original movie. But that aside, I really like everything that they did with this film. It's set in the 80s, and the family had lost their father, and the mother is struggling to provide for her two daughters and herself. And her mother was psychic, did the psychic reading, and so she's doing that too, where she's completely fake though. Like, she tells people what what she thinks they want to hear, and it's all parlor tricks. So she's at the store, and she sees this new prop, which is the Ouija board, and so she's figured out this magnet, like how she can manipulate it to give them whatever they want to hear. But apparently being a psychic skips a generation, and the youngest daughter decides to play with the Ouija board by herself. And first she talks in some spirits, but then of course a bad spirit lashes onto her, and then you have a movie. So, it's a really interesting play, but so it's often, the evil child trope of horror, when it's done well, is really creepy, and this movie is very creepy. So, it's set in the 80s, and the whole film looks like it could have been actually shot in the 80s, too. And it's incredibly interesting, with the tone, the color, and the film, and they even have digitally added the little cigarette burns in the corner, which were the signal to the projector to change your reels. And it's just really interesting to see that in a movie. It's something I haven't seen in years. However, I wish that he had kind of fully embraced the 80s vibe of the film and refrained from using CGI. Because for the most part, it's very well done, all the shots and all the special effects. But there are a couple scenes with just CGI, and it makes it a little goofy. It feels a little out of place, like a little cartoony, especially whenever she opens her mouth really wide and does the whole thing. It's a little like almost laughable. Like, it's not that, I didn't find it that creepy. It's a little annoying. And some of the stuff that she does that they did with CGI was very creepy and really entertaining, but I just wish they had done all practical effects. But that's really the only gripe I had with the film, because I thoroughly enjoyed it, and I would highly recommend it. If you haven't seen it, go out and see it before it leaves the theaters. Thanks.